Uh, so this mentoring session, real quick, about this, like the purpose of this, is we are going through this long exercise of sort of changing the culture of the place, making sure we're all in agreement with each other and understand each other, and are effective and efficient as a team member, as a leader, in order to achieve personal objectives as well as professional mission of the organization. And each of those group sessions we have done that have sort of explored different aspects of it. Mentoring sessions are more sort of one-on-one where we can both hear, and I actually it will be helpful for me to hear, and how how you observed and understood different things. Talk about in the group session, and also what are your sort of things that you want to mention, because for various reasons the group session is not the right setting for it, or time, or things like that. So the first thing I wanted to say, every team member of the assignment, we have talked about it multiple times, we all bring different skill sets, and so I'm going to start with saying that for you're a great member of DSI. I mean, I think Missy knows this. I know this. Everybody else knows this. You're meticulous. You are the attention to detail. You make sure things are following the process, making sure the gold often shines through, as we have talked about, and that is good. I mean, that's something that we need. There is the and you take initiative. That's very very important. As we went through the getting the board meeting set up and the agenda last minute changes, you were not panicking. That was healthy. That was good. And otherwise, 2 hours before this big giant board meeting, and we are working on the presentation, a lot of people would be panicking. So calm, yet meticulous. It's very very good. So we appreciate it as a group. I appreciate it on an individual basis as well. And as we work towards for the mission of the organization, we go through that every time. It's like to drive economic growth and economic and social growth in downtown, making sure we maintain core values of integrity, inclusion, civic passion, collaboration, innovation. Um, if if you were to discuss like one core value of the ones that I listed, um, which one would be one that you would sort of that would be uh, that you would align with closest, or the one that speaks to you the closest, the one that you identify with the most?
Can I see it again?
Yeah.
Um, for the core values.
Yes.
Well, for me, it would be integrity.
Okay.
Then probably innovation.
Okay.
Like most important. Probably do I have to number them, or is it?
No, just any one is fine.
Integrity is something that's probably most important to do with any organization or person.
Okay.
With them. Maybe it's a reason it's first, but I think that we see a lot of dishonest people, a lot of people without integrity, a lot of people that don't have that moral compass. I think that's the starting point for everything.
Yeah, no, so true, so true. And that compass is essential to many things. Good, good. Okay, so in terms of as you see yourself in the organization, and as you come to work every day or work remotely every day, either way, what is it that you sort of look forward to most? What is it that excites you about our organization?
So
Working for
I think it's the diversity of things. It's not like I'm showing up every single day and trying to sell a widget or sell insurance or cold call 1,000 people or just do events. It's like a kind of a combination of everything from special events to innovative initiatives to dealing with whether it's board members or people from the public or business leaders. That and it's very active. And so I still think that it's not always the same. And that's one thing that I really like about working here is that you can have a plan for how your day is going to go, and it can go the complete opposite direction, for better or for worse. Um, but I do like just the diversity of things that we're doing. I never thought I'd be working in a garbage district in a community, which I've not done too much, but if more opportunity comes along, I could be working on something, or at least the promotion of it.
Yeah, or messaging around security, or talking about shooters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. And it changes by the day.
Awesome. So the flip side of that is, what are the things that you don't look forward to? That sort of, I think we can be honest. You don't. It's not like that there is a sort of a wrong answer where when people ask sort of weakness, oh, I'm just too great. And it's more like, so this is sort of like whatever there is no the reason the question is there is so if there is a change to be made, we can hear that. So what is it like so that's great because that's sort of core of what we do, the diversity of things. So if that excites you, that is great. But in terms of what are the things that you don't look forward to, that'll be good to know as well.
So I guess it's like to see progress is not something you often see overnight.
Uh-huh.
And so your 2 years come in every day, and it's like sometimes you see a slow change, sometimes you don't really see change at all, sometimes you see a decline. Like Lunchtime Live when I started, this Lunchtime Live now is a shadow of itself. And so
yeah,
and am I to blame, or did the times change, or was it security, or is it the food trucks? And so it's just like where. But then there's other things that we do where like this annual event. This will be my third one, and we've raised more money. We're going to have more sponsors. It's going to be a lot more of a fun event, and I think that's shown growth. And I think I've played a big part in it. So it's good and bad. But I guess the most negative thing would be turn on the news in the morning, or you get the alert. Oh, somebody shot in downtown yesterday. It's like, well, what's the point? Anything I do today is not going to take away that news story, or that victim or that crime. And so that would be the negative thing. I don't really have a whole lot of like day to day employee conflict, or processes can always use improvement, but we're working on that. So I would say if we weren't doing anything to improve how we do things in the office, that would be on the list. But we have made tremendous strides in certain areas. Long-winded answer.
No, but that's good. That's good. I mean, that could be challenging. Both of those things. I mean, progress. You hit a wall. Nobody looks forward to hitting that wall, but that happens. The same thing is with things that happen that you don't have any control over. That sort of So good. Okay, so going to the last group session that we had, where we talked about the self-betrayal, 4 core needs, and those kind of things. In terms of self-betrayal, do you remember that concept?
I remember it, but I don't remember my response. Yeah, I remember.
Well, that's fine. So if you remember the concept of self-betrayal itself, do you think it matters? And if the awareness and that the idea that we should not do that, and why does it matter?
Trying to remember. it kind of comes down to, like I said, well, I go back to integrity. Like, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with your staff, your coworkers, and yes, self betrayal is either of those things not being, going to fake it when you show up with your coworkers, or fake it because you do. I don't necessarily feel like that's the case in either instance for me. But I guess from what I remember, self-betrayal was kind of a broad brush for a lot of different areas, whether it's a task or an overarching problem. But that's about as much as I remember the time I had without reviewing.
Okay. Sort of an example, like if you were to think an example of when you or another person did that sort of were not true to, for a variety of reasons. It could be sometimes that it's it's not a fight you want to fight kind of thing, and sometimes it could be other reasons. But do you remember? If any of you can think of it, that's fine.
I don't have a specific example. Maybe I don't have a specific example.
That's right. So in terms of, so what about the next item that we talked about there, core needs, the four core needs we had, which is empowerment, lovable, and contribution. And I forgot the fourth one.
Connected.
Connected, yes.
Connected. Mine was empowerment and contribution. Those were two that I identified with, I remember. Or core or need. I need to be contributing in some fashion. I feel like if I'm not having an impact, I'll find something else to do.
So tell me again, what were those two?
So
empowerment and contributing.
So empowerment. If I'm not given authority or not given, the trust to get the job done, and it's like I have to be checked on every step. I don't enjoy that. I much more need to be told, take this, do it right, and then I'll let you know if something's wrong.
Oh, that's good.
So be empowered, like I trust you to get the job done, and no news is good news.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah. That makes you feel that you're contributing as well.
Yeah, and then that feeds into the contributing that, they trust me and I can actually produce, whether it's event management, website management, kind of a tough conversation, whatever the project, that I don't need to be told, oh, good job, or, man, we really, that's all good, or getting an award is good. I like that, but it's not what fuels me, I guess.
Okay, so responsibility.
Yeah.
And trust. Okay, so let me ask you a follow-up on that thing. In decide right now, over however long we've been, but at least as you look at it now, do you think you are getting that? Is your need for the empowerment and out of the four core needs and contributing, like do you think you are getting enough go do your own thing kind of or not, or if there is any way you see that we could be better?
I do, and I think it's a substantial difference from when I started as an intern, who hired as marketing associate, and then title change, marketing manager, marketing community. That to me was like, okay, I'm progressing, I'm clearly doing something, I'm getting more responsibility, and I think we're doing better work. And so for me, that's been fulfilling. If I was still kind of stuck in the same role and kind of didn't have as much responsibility, I would probably be looking to move elsewhere just because there's not that growth. Yeah, personally and professionally. So and it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder or getting the next job title or even money, frankly. More, everybody wants those things, but just personally to feel like I'm bringing something to the table with whatever I'm doing.
Right.
That plays a big role in kind of everything I do.
Yeah, and which is important. I mean, like you do, as people grow um, in an organization and in life, frankly, you want to be able to, do more. So, if for one, that is great. Second, if at any point you do feel, I mean, it's not, so this mentorship, it's not a regimented thing that we got to do it and check the box and go. I mean, the reason it is so we can be better. So if at any point you feel like, I can do more, or this is not how I want it to be, or whatever it is, always feel free to come talk to me or miss me.
And the good thing is I've felt that way. So, and I feel like I have expressed concern and I felt comfortable doing so one time or another. Never anything major or overarching, like I'm going to walk away or anything like that. But when there is something, I do feel comfortable enough approaching you or Missy,
Awesome, that's great.
So that's there. And if we can grow that, great. But I think the open communication.
Yeah, because I think that's where a lot of times through resentment builds in is, oh, this person, I can't tell this person this, or that for whatever reasons, seniority or just different styles or what have you. Um, and one of the things that is very unproductive, and I'm not saying that you do that, but in general, and I've seen this in other organizations, people don't like it, uh, but but they don't express it without realizing that the other person might be receptive to feedback and to change, and so it feeds in more where people become passive aggressive, and that doesn't help anybody. And because those four core needs, the idea that you're empowered is helpful for me. It's helpful for everybody. For one, you contribute. We get 100% of you, so you're not just clocking in and out. And second, you are happy, and that's important. Um, Anything else you want to add?
No, but just for reference, I guess, so I guess more about me if this is a good time. Before I started here, I was hall director for the university. So we did hours of training on like conflict management, bad roommates, and all that. And so I feel very comfortable addressing someone when they're doing something that's kind of embarrassing. Maybe it's embarrassing. Maybe I'm doing something embarrassing. The stinky roommate or somebody that doesn't want to pick up their laundry or do their laundry, and how to address someone appropriately to get the best possible outcome. And so maybe it's sometimes you don't talk, sometimes you talk, sometimes you just upfront, sometimes you let them speak. So all of that, I'm very.
Well, we can have you do that training for everybody someday.
No. But I that's a background that I come with, and I haven't necessarily had to use it here.
Yeah.
But some people are always afraid. But I guess if you do it enough.
Yeah, I mean that's a skill that can be learned, but that's a skill, an important skill. How do you have that tough conversation?
And I guess that goes even talking to a manager or superior in the workplace. It's an appropriate way to approach things.
Yeah, which is harder, but in all my life, I have seen that most people are open to feedback. Because at the end of the day, it's not about a person. It's about whatever they're working towards, having that successful.
Yeah.
And most people realize superior or not. So, well, that's great. Here, though, do you think those four core needs, out of those four core needs, maybe it is those two that you've identified, but any that we need to strengthen so we can do more? So either it could be those two, or that if we're doing, that's great, but do we need to do more?
So they're
contributing, empowerment, lovable, and connected.
I don't know if I can pinpoint one. I mean, it's always good to be more loved.
Yeah, but even for those two, do you think though it needs to be strengthened more? The ones that specifically relate to you?
No, I mean, other than getting more opportunity,
More opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm always. I think I said this. I said I'm never gonna ask for more money, but I always ask for more opportunity.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Any specific thing you can think of where we can do that? I guess, like, I know when you first started as an intern, and even then when we made it full time, and I have talked the same thing with Christian and others too, is that we are a small team. We are trying to move mountains. So everybody, you're welcome to think of wherever you think you can contribute. And so if there is a way where you think, we can, like, if I can think of, oh, this would be great for Andy, I will come to you. But if as a system, I guess, or anything that we can institute so that um, you do get the opportunities.
Yeah. Well, I guess so personally, one professional skill or thing, at least, yeah, skill that I want to keep what I have and get better is public speaking. Not that I need to be in front of the camera, not that I need to be in front of big people, but just I think it's healthy to continue
to get you more opportunities for public speaking,
or speaking in front of small groups, big groups, or in a meeting, or whenever. That's something I'm comfortable at, but I want to grow and become better at. And
okay.
And that's not always the case for something, but
so here's one thing that as an implementation idea, like if to get you more opportunities to speak. I mean, one is, a one-off events here or there, and then we have board meetings, and it depends on the agenda. But one of the things that we mentioned in the agenda at the discussion today about that recruitment, housing recruitment, we want to be going. So we were planning, and with Christian leaving, it may be timing, good timing. I do plan to go out to a whole lot of employers and brokers and a lot of places with 2 people meetings or 20 or 50 or 100, whatever people will give me. And I'm happy to have you as part of whatever I'm thinking that to have that.
Yeah.
And the other thing from your end, like we do the if it does come out, or whatever you do here that on the public speaking, if there is something in check, if there is something that you can do. So I don't know how specific it is, but it's something just to keep it in mind, I guess, going forward, and I'll keep it in mind. So I know we are almost to time. This should be quick. So in addition to core needs, we talked about control models as well. The incentive-driven, the carrot and stick approach, and how that has changed over the years. And in general, I think you sort of addressed it already, that not people watching over constantly, but trusting and giving you responsibility. But at the same time, as everybody has something to learn, and how do you do that? One way is someone watches over. The other is you sort of get mentored more regularly, or more close mentorship connection versus micromanaged or incentive driven, and similarly punishment based on the other hand. Based on what you've said before, it seems like you would prefer mentorship model with the trust and responsibility.
Yeah. I don't mean when I ask for more less responsibility, I understand that accountability is a big part of that trust as well. And so, with the expectation that I'll be held accountable if there is a mistake. It's not like, oh, I want all this responsibility and then I fail, and oh, well, I tried, sort of thing. So I do appreciate feedback or criticisms.
So this is where I think, you know, and I don't recall those control models specifically in detail, but in general, in my view, where it lands is we are all humans, we all make mistakes, but at the same time, we are also all teams. And typically, the carrot and stick approach, sort of the incentives, bonuses, and criticism is not as constructive as opposed to let's do it better next time. This is how you. So like a video we watched with the karate instructor, he was very firm, but he was also like mentoring. Okay, I want to hear you. This is why, but not letting. Like you got to keep going until you are the best that you could be. And I want to do that for you. Everybody here would want to do that for you. So just so you know. And um, the power over and power under, it sort of connects with the same sort of responsibility, mentor, not managed. And so the approach where we are taking now is very different than most organizations, where it's more like very conveyor belt kind of, you are a foreman, you take care of these 4 bolts. You don't have to think about how the rest of the car gets assembled. But here, everybody, that's why we do huddles every day. Everybody knows what else is happening in the rest of the world. And do you think do you, for one, agree with that approach? Do you think there's any pitfall, or do you think we should do that and continue doing more of that?
I think that there's room for growth.
Okay.
I think it's good to have the daily, here's what's going on, everybody. But then there's other times where, what the hell's going on? All like last minute board changes. It's like, I don't know what we're changing, but we're changing it, and I'm going to the meeting, and we're gonna have the meeting. And I couldn't no response if they called on me.
Yeah.
And not all of it's my business, not all of it's everybody's business, but just, and maybe the marketing umbrella is so big. Oh, we're doing garment district, we need this piece. Oh, we're doing a living downtown piece, or value proposition. And a lot of those have numbers, and I don't necessarily know the housing rates or the markets or how many buildings we have. And so stuff like that. But I'm reviewing a nice, printed piece. I couldn't tell you if we're at 92% occupancy or 50. And so
like the meeting that we had, you did not have advance notice, or that you didn't know how it came
sometimes
together?
It's both. Sometimes maybe it's a matter of me needing to do the homework more, or just I always like having the background information before going into something, and I get the highlights a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily need all the data all the time.
Yeah. So I think the 2 things you pointed out, 2 things, like board changes and the data. So the board changes are like those kind of changes last minute. Sometimes those are truly last minute.
Yeah.
Like it's like nobody has an idea, and people presenting didn't have an idea an hour ago. But sometimes there is room for growth where the data is there. We should present. In fact, like in the housing data, that was the original plan to present that in the staff meeting, but in the staff meeting got moved around and short, so we didn't have time for it. But the more of those things, I think what we are doing to share. So, for example, garment district, I think these are the things we're thinking about to share, and we have started doing more of that in these impromptu lunch conversations. Yeah. So we just need to be better at that, I guess. So as one key next step, I guess we can say is, so earlier whenever we had staff meetings, we used to have an agenda. We don't do it anymore. I think we should.
Maybe or just an agenda.
No, staff meeting, we used to have that agenda where we'll go either the agenda or go around the room and everybody talks about what is it that they want to share with the group.
I think I do. I don't remember that being as productive as I wanted.
That's why we moved away from it.
Yeah. And I think the huddles cover it most. And I know we're not using Trello like we said we were, but
yeah, I think we should. Maybe that's what we do. Is we need to go back to
maybe
Trello.
it's just bridging the gap between marketing and economic development. And
well, there should be a gap, but we need to be sharing more.
Yeah. So that would
and the same thing with the security as well. Actually, is
really the security. Yeah.
Like what stuff is going on there. Like I see it, but you probably don't see it, and Michelle and Tim may not either in some way. So sharing that more, maybe at the staff meeting. So next time I guess we can think about how do we share that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, more. Okay, well that's helpful. Okay, so two things that I will ask very quickly. One is in that same karate lesson, that instructor was sort of firm but respectful of the feelings and needs of the student. Um, if you were to remember anybody who has been like that or was ever like that to you, firm and respectful, a good leader like that, and if you don't remember, that's fine. But if you think of it um, right now, then what is it that how they made you feel?
Talking about in my life, or
yeah, in like not just here, but in
well, let's see. There's a few, but it's certainly my dad. He's never, I mean, he has, but he was never the type that's going to yell at you or beat you, but just be disappointed. You know, you just knew that you did wrong.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to disappoint.
Yeah.
And never pressured to be anybody other than yourself.
Yeah.
But when you messed up, a teenager or whatever, even now, you know, you don't want to disappoint them because then I just would feel bad. And so
yeah.
I've always tried to take that approach when other people that like I'm not gonna scream at you or throw anything at you, but you know, the integrity thing, I'm gonna lose a lot of respect for you, you know, if you do X, Y, Z, or if you know you don't do X, Y, Z. And so that's kind of been instilled in me by my dad is, you know, actions are consequences and you have to learn to deal with them. And you gotta own it. So
that's awesome.
That would be the number. And my mom, I don't want to discount my mom. My mom as well, very much the same way. Both very strong leaders in their own sense, and so never got beat, never got yelled at, but just knew when I messed up, and so always wanted to be doing what I was supposed to be doing. So. That's at least, I guess.
That's great.
And I'm the oldest of four, and so that my siblings always call me the third parent because I was always making sure they were in line.
Yeah.
I don't know that they would say the same answer as me.
So this is so fascinating because my dad was the same way. Like I never remember sort of getting yelled at, but it's that disappointment. And then I'm the oldest of four, so I know my youngest sibling probably has a completely different answer. But it is so true. Well, that's very cool. So the last one that I wanted to ask you is, you did say earlier, sort of, it's not about awards. I mean, I like awards, but it's more about getting responsibility. But people do sometimes, recognition is sometimes important. How do you like to be recognized? And are you satisfied with the amount of recognition you get now? Because you're doing great work. Sometimes it's recognized, sometimes probably not. Are you? How do you like to be recognized? One, and second, are you happy with the amount that you get now?
Yeah, I think that this organization does a good job of acknowledging people when they do something that benefits the staff or our mission. And so, it's not always I don't need my picture on the cover of the St. Louis Business Journal or anything like that, but just the acknowledgement is always been there for the most part. Yeah, I mean, I don't I don't think I've done anything that warrants a ton of praise and give me a big trophy.
Well, look, everybody is important. Everybody, no, I don't think you should discount yourself, because everybody is important in this organization, and everybody does their part, and you're doing a great job. So,
but and I feel like I am, not just because I think, oh, I'm doing a great job, but because people are always complimenting each other, and whether it's Tim, Michelle, you, or Missy, or even Kelly said something to me downstairs, today, and it's just, and that's kind of the vibe, and I try and do that as well.
okay. But are you happy with the amount?
Yeah.
Is there anything, where you feel like you need to be recognized, but you're not getting recognized?
No, I don't feel that.
Okay. I know I can be sometimes like that, where I intrinsically I'm like, oh, what would I do without this person? And sometimes it just moves not come because I'm like thinking of many other things.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Everybody I work with, sooner or later will realize that it really is coming from the bottom of my heart. It's not like, oh, thank you is a default anytime somebody does. Is
with you, it's kind of like with Mobin, it's no news is good news.
Yeah.
And I know that, and just from our interactions and experiences, and that if I did it and I did it 100% right, and I didn't hear anything back, and it's off on to the next thing, okay, I'm satisfied. If he's like, hey, what about this or what about that? Then it's maybe okay. It's not, but when you do get the, hey, good job on this, I know it's genuine because
yeah.
And I guess that's the green.
Maybe that's the
I
green.
don't know.
Maybe that's the green. But that is it's like I would be thinking sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. So that's why it's I for one, if that recognition is not always there, but I want to make sure is that you're getting the amount of recognition that you actually deserve.
I think I understand it more than maybe others with that. At least with you in particular.
With others, okay.
No. Not like I didn't hear anything. Did I do it right? It's like, oh, you didn't say anything, so it must be right. And that's not all the time. That's not all. But
okay. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's very helpful. The okay. I don't know who's leading the next group session. Judy, you are leading the next group session, right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So I don't think I need to go any further in detail in your feed. But anything that you want to add to it, or I know we'll be doing more of these.
No, not particularly.
Well, thank you. This was very helpful. And for the time, and I want to say one more thing, which is our experience with the previous one, previous exercise similar to this, wasn't all that what we had hoped. But despite that, we are all as a group doing this, and everybody is still making sure that they are committed to it, including you. So I appreciate that we're all still believing that we can, as a group, be better, and individuals. And then this is something that is valuable. So the fact that you are committing your time, and not just because we asked you to or we asked you to, but that you're seeing value in this, and hopefully you'll continue seeing value. So thank you for all that, and your work here. So far, you've been great. So, and some of the things that have come up in terms of what we can do to make sure that your needs and that we'll try to do that. You keep going. I mean, that's one of the things that for me is a big that you want to make sure that people you're working with are not improving in the sense they're not good before, but more like growth, career growth, intellectual growth, knowledge growth as they spend their time here. So anytime, anything, feel free to. And if I have anything, anytime, I will have a direct conversation. It will not be that oh man, if I talk to you, it was something big, and only then I talk to you. I'll talk to you.
Okay.
And the same thing I would expect you to, like, just let us know. You know, what is it that we can do?
Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, thank you.
She's staying on.
Hey, Judy.
Bye. I'll go ahead and go if you guys are done. You have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Do we need to chat? I think we're.
No, I'll send you a follow-up email, okay?
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.